When I design gardens, I like to design for as many seasons as possible. So, not just spring and summer and fall, but also for winter. I like to see sculpture or movement or things that trap the snow so that your eye is drawn to them. So, I figured I would show you some of the things I took photos of today and let you know what they are in case it's something you might be interested in. This is a small variety of sedum or stone crop. Here is a lemon balm capturing lots and lots of snow. And here is a large version of stone crop. That's one reason I don't do cleanup in the fall because I like to see the structure and the sculpture. Oh, here's my winter sewing project. This is Jacob Klein bee balm. It's attractive to hummingbirds. I leave those up as well until spring. And this is called winterberry. It is a deciduous holly. So the leaves fall off, but the berries stay. And then with the freeze thaw process, the berries become palatable for the birds and they come and eat them. Here is a native aster mound that is huge. It's probably 5 feet around. And the snow was so heavy that it knocked it over. But I don't care about that because the stems, everything above ground, is dead in the winter. So in the spring, I will actually cut at the ground level and remove all of that and put it in a far off corner that we don't use so the insects can escape and the birds can get any more seeds that might be there. This is an important plant to have in your garden because it blooms really late into the fall, which is the time when the monarchs are traveling to Mexico. This is called chokeberry, and the name comes about because when people try to eat them, they spit them out. They don't taste very good. But I have heard you can make jams and jellies from them. The birds will like them after the freeze thaw process, and the plant spreads out naturally like a hedge and will provide shelter for wildlife as well as some food sources. Here is blackberry, thornless blackberries. We keep these canes up until spring and then cut back the dead ones, and the new ones that came about last year are the ones usually that are going to make the berries. And then there is blueberries. This is a dwarf or patio variety. But the cool thing about blueberries is that the leaves change in the fall as well, and then they capture the snow. So you have the green leaves in the spring, white flowers that turn into blueberries, then the color change of the leaves, and then the snow and the sculpture like with the solid leaves that don't all fall off as well. Native goldenrod is another important nectar source for monarchs in their travels in the fall. So those combined with asters can provide a lot of nectar that they need for travel. Here is a Queen Anne's lace seed head collecting snow and a forsythia branch. Forsythias are one of the first shrubs to flower in the spring, and they are the ones you see that are totally yellow. And the rule of thumb for gardening is when you see the forsythia bloom, it's time to trim your roses. So don't forget. Full-size Joe Pyeweed. This is a pollinator magnet, literally. It's not necessarily the most attractive flower in the world, but the activity that swarms around it is well worth it. It's very large. It has like a vase shape, and so it forms a nice structure in the garden. And then you can also plant things around its legs and its base to kind of hide the stems a little bit, because sometimes the insects do some damage to the leaves, but you won't see that behind other things. Common milkweed pods. Norway maple collected snow that fell softly without any wind. Dwarf Joe Pyeweed in the foreground and the regular size in the background with some milkweed to the left of the gazing globe. Japanese maple shrub, which is an understory tree, which means it prefers to be under larger trees. This is dill that I left up so it would reseed in that area. This is also a host plant for swallowtail caterpillars. And here's another view of the Norway maple. I just really love the white snow outlining each branch. It's so beautiful to me. This is snowberry, and it has a pink berry that's poisonous to humans but good for wildlife. And this is a dwarf nine bark maroon. I believe it's called Little Devil. And because it's a native plant, that means the insects in our environment love it. And they're used to it and they eat it and they use it for nectar. So that's why you plant native, so that the insects that live in our area that are accustomed to those can benefit from them. And this is a very happy willow shrub. It's probably 8 or 9 feet tall now. And it collects snow in the middle, and when the snow starts to melt, it will actually drop right down into the root zone. It's paired up with a regular size Joe Pye weed to the south of it, and then to the south of the Joe Pye weed is a large forsythia. So all three in this grouping seem to be very happy, and they're doing very well together. Fun facts about willow is, one, if you have a headache, they say you can take a piece of the branch and chew it, and it will act like aspirin. It has salicylic acid in it. Fun fact two is that if you were to make willow tea from some of the branches, you can use that as a rooting hormone when you start cuttings. It's called willow tea. The hydrangeas collect snow pretty well, and so do the evergreen hollies, the kind that you see at Christmas. See, there's even a little berry. This is a plant of Queen Anne's lace, which is in the carrot family, which is a host plant for swallowtail caterpillars, along with carrots and dill and parsley and fennel. And this final one is a natural bird feeder. I just left up the old sunflowers that I had grown this year, and they can come and make a feeder. They can take the seeds out, and then some insects can be buried into the stems, and they will come out in the spring. They will emerge. So I like to see the structure of like sculpture against the fine leaves of some of the other plants and stems of some of the other plants. So there's some contrast. So anyway, that's a little bit about winter interest and what some of the plants look like in the winter. I hope that you got inspired and have some ideas of what you might want to add to your gardens. And I am Tammy Lowe, the Lazy Northern Gardener, hoping you learn and grow some more.